Hey everybody, welcome back to Blacktop Cruisers. It's been a few weeks since I had a chance to work on the car, so I started working on it last night and basically didn't do much other than pulling the hot side of the turbo setup off, the turbo itself, disconnecting a bunch of hoses and getting fluids dropped. So not really much to see there. Let's see. So as you can see, the radiator's been pulled, the front header's been pulled because the header and the crossover pipe are one and the same to the rear, so you got to pull it so you can pull the engine. To pull the radiator, it's just a matter of unhooking the top and bottom radiator hose, 2 wiring connections, a ground that's behind the passenger headlight, and then 4 8mm bolts, and then she just drops right out the bottom. Easy peasy. Let's see what else. Drained the oil. If you don't know, 15mm for the oil drain plug. Right now you can see the transmission is draining. I like to let everything drain for a while so I don't get any surprises when I pull the engines. Let's see. The transmission drain plug is an 8mm Allen wrench. That comes out easy. Yeah, that's pretty much where we're at right now. I'll check back in later. Gonna slowly but surely move on. Here's where a whole like 15 minutes of content was supposed to be. Talking about taking the engine out, showing you how to hook it up and all that good jazz, and for some reason my phone lost it, so sorry. Moving on. Hey guys, okay, so like I said, I'll show you on the other engine what you need to take off to get the engine out the top. Okay, all right, so let me turn this around. This is much easier to look at because the whole subframe's out, but this is your front roll resistor. Okay, you need to remove the roll resistor off the front, off the subframe. You need to remove the bracket off the transmission. It takes T50 Torx bolts, 3 of them. And now if your car is really stock, this here is a mount that would go up there for what's called a stabo shock, or keep the engine from twisting over. So you got that one you got to remove, and of course you got to remove the fan and condenser and motors. You don't have to remove your AC from this side, okay? And then on the back of the engine, let's see, there it is. On the back of the engine, you got to remove your roll resistor and your bracket also. And depending on who worked on your vehicle last, they all should be 13mm bolts. Or if it's like the car we just took apart, it's going to be a mix of 13 and 15mm bolts. Okay? And then that's pretty much it. You don't have to remove the alternator. That can stay in place. And then, if you're like me, I don't like messing with air conditioning stuff. So what I end up doing is I pull the front belt off, and then I unbolt the AC compressor and just lay it. Just lay it down on the side. It takes 4 10mm bolts and it comes right off. It's kind of a pain to get to if you're doing it with the radiator in place, okay? Now here's the slick thing. You can remove the radiator and fans without removing the condenser, okay? All you really got to do is you're going to undo that 8mm bolt, that 8mm bolt, and then it slides out of there. And then you can leave your condenser, you can leave your compressor and all your lines just fine. And then where I hook to pull out is I usually I either leave the mount on and just run a chain around it, or I just put a nut there. And then I go over here on the transmission mount I do the same thing. I put in the chain there and a nut there over the top, and you're on your way. It's quick and easy. So hopefully today or this weekend I'll be pulling this out of the subframe so that I can put it in there. So should be a fun weekend, I think. But that's pretty much all there is to pulling an engine out of a Contour. It's actually really easy to go out the top. In fact, I'd rather go out the top than out the bottom any day, even if you have a lift. So there we are. Well, boys, she runs. After a whole lot of work, it does run. It's got a little misstep in it due to some really old gas, but it'll be all right once that gets run through. So there we go.